Hi everyone, today we're going to talk about some important ear training advice for beginners. Before going on with this video, please, if you're interested in ear training, just hit the subscribe button below and hit also the notification bell icon so you will get notified every time we will publish a new video, which for sure it will be about ear training. We often publish ear training tutorials. Indeed, we have a bunch already available, like how to recognize melodies, how to recognize chord progressions by ear, etc. Feel free to go on our YouTube channel and check out our previous videos. Lastly, if you go on our website, we have a free 3-hour online workshop that you can register for and you can watch entirely for free, where we're going to show you some exercises from our method. You will be able to practice them as you watch the workshop, and we'll also show the rigorous scientific studies that are behind our method and that will really help you understand how you should practice your training in an effective way. So feel free to check out the link in the description section below and to register for our 3-hour-long workshop for free. Okay, moving on to the main topic of this video, I'd like to start with the main advice I'd like to give to beginner ear training students. The most important advice is to not start by practicing interval-based exercises. So there is this common mistake that all beginners, musicians, all beginners ear training students do, which is they start with practicing interval-based exercises. They might find different ways to do it. They might download an app or do something else, but most of the time beginners focus incorrectly on interval-based exercises right at the beginning of their ear training practice. And this is not at all a good thing for them, because interval-based exercises are advanced ear training exercises. This means that most beginners don't have yet the skills to properly perform and successfully perform those exercises. And these kinds of exercises, the most common one is interval recognition, where an app plays an interval and you have to identify which interval it is, doesn't help you as a beginner to fully develop all the skills that are necessary to develop great ear training skills overall. So if you just practice interval-based exercises, you're going to get stuck and you're not going to be able to recognize melodies by ear and chord progressions by ear effortlessly and effectively. So in this video, I'm not going to bother you with all the reasons why intervals-based exercises are not a good exercise, especially to begin with, but I've made another video where I go in depth explaining all the scientific researches that are related to this statement, and that really show that interval-based exercises are not the optimal exercise for us to develop great ear training skills. And I really suggest you check out that video because it really explains not only how you shouldn't practice and why you shouldn't practice interval-based exercises, but it also explains how our perception of musical pitch really works from a scientific point of view. This way you will be able to also understand how you should practice, what kind of exercises will be helpful to you. So you will find the link to that video up here and in the description section below. Just don't forget to check it out because I think it will be very helpful to you. Another important advice for beginner ear training students is to avoid practicing ear training following or adopting a trial and error approach. This is another very common thing that beginners musicians do when they try to develop the ability to play by ear or to just recognize melodies and chords by ear. They simply take their instrument, they play the song on Spotify or YouTube or whatever, and they just play random notes or chords till they find the ones that matches those that are in the song. So basically, they're not using only their ears and minds in order to determine which are the notes played in the melodies or which are the chords played in the song. They're also and mainly helping themselves with the instrument to do that. So what happens is that by practicing in this way over and over, you won't be able to develop all the skills that are necessary to being able to recognize melodies and chords by ear without any effort. Because you're just training your ability to determine whether the note you're playing on your instrument is the same as the one that is being played in the song. The same for chords. And this is a very specific skill which is called pitch matching. You're training your skill to understand whether the two pitches match each other. So this is just a very tiny step in developing great ear training skill. And by practicing in this way over and over, you will surely develop pitch matching skills if you haven't them yet. But you won't be able to get any further than that. So this is another very important and very common mistake you should avoid doing if you're a beginner ear training student. There are also other reasons why this trial and error approach is not a good approach, but I won't bother you with all of them. Again, I've made a specific video about that. You will find the link up here and in the description section below. That being said, I know that you probably have a question right now, which is, okay, we know what we shouldn't do, but we still don't know what we should do. And so I will try to give you some direction on that. Unfortunately, I can't really tell you what exercise you should actually practice because I don't know you, and depending on your current level of skills, you should either practice one exercise or another, or maybe you should practice a set of exercises to tackle a specific issue that's holding you back. And this is what we do with our ear training courses and lessons that you will find on our website. Unfortunately, I can't do that here because I literally don't know what's your level yet, what are the issues that you're experiencing, etc. But I will give you a general idea of what you should do in order to practice your training in an effective way. So basically, the core idea you should always follow when practicing your training is to adopt a tonal approach. A tonal approach means an approach that always recreates a musical context when practicing exercises. Because most exercises, and this is the problem of the interval method and other methods and other exercises too, is that most of those exercises are not recreating a musical context. And our perception of musical pitch, unfortunately, works in a very context-dependent way. So in order for us to really develop the ability to recognize melodies and chords by ear, etc., we should always practice in a tonal context, in a musical context. In simple terms, it means that every exercise you practice should establish a key, a musical tonality. Okay, that's what basically I'm referring to when talking about a musical context. So the exercise you practice should always establish a musical key. This way, your mind can feel the push-pull forces that are inherent to the key, so you will be able to feel the tonal center of the key. You will be able to feel that a note has the sensation of gravitational center. This means that in any musical context, so in any key, there will always be a note that will assume the function of gravitational center. In simple terms, it means that that note will give you a sensation of total resolution, of total rest. Whereas the other notes inside the key will have different level of tension, and all of them will want to go back on that tonal center note that gives you the sensation of rest. And then by focusing on these sensations of tension and rest and internalizing these sensations of tension and rest, you will be able to identify notes by ear and chords by ear without the need of applying the interval approach or the trial and error approach. This is the way that allows you to recognize melodies and chords effortlessly in real time. So that's why it's so important to always practice your training exercises that establish a musical key. You should never practice, or at least let's say very rarely practice exercises that don't establish a musical key. And unfortunately, interval-based exercises never establish a musical key by definition because they are atonal exercises, okay? So I hope this wasn't too difficult for you to understand. If you have any issues understanding something, you can leave comments below, and I'll leave another video up here where you will find a different explanation of how you should practice your training and what you should focus on, so you might be able to better understand that in case this wasn't clear enough to you. Again, if you're interested in your training, I really suggest you go and check out our free 3-hour-long workshop, which is full of actionable content, exercises, and it's based on rigorous scientific studies. You will find much more detailed instructions on how you should practice And you will also be able to understand what's your current level and understand which are the issues that are holding you back, and so what are the exercises that are better for you to practice. And you will get everything I've just mentioned for free. So don't wait and click on the link in the description section below to register for our free 3-hour-long ear training workshop. You can also check out our website where you will find our courses and you will be able to book one-on-one lessons with our teachers. Again, you can check out the links in the description section below. So that's all for this video. I thank you for watching and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.